Welcome back to Dirty 20, everyone. Today we talk about your first major ally NPC in your first campaign. Let's get on with the show. Thanks for joining us, lovely people. Continuing with our series of firsts, where we have talked about your first session, combat, encounter, villain, and more. I recommend you check those out if you haven't yet. Today, though, I wanted to talk to you about allies. In our first villain video, we talked about how you could use a technique to create a very hateable antagonist by having them essentially betray the party. So to begin with, they are wanting to help, but at some point they will backstab our heroes. Now, as much as a great narrative move this can be, it also has its unintended consequences. And that is that your players are likely never going to trust anybody ever. Not even the kindly old woman who lives by herself in the... Wait, no, yeah, you definitely shouldn't trust them ever. But it can become a little bit frustrating when your players will not accept any information, even if it's vital, when it's presented by an NPC, because you have scarred them for life. So presenting an unambiguous ally, someone who can be a source of information, as well as potentially buy some of that loot that your players have been accumulating. Now, you could go with some of the really cool legendary characters of the Forgotten Realms. We've done a few videos on characters of the Forgotten Realms, and a perfect example would be someone like Durnan, the innkeeper of the Yawning portal. But as we have discussed in those videos, it can be a little bit tough if your characters are kind of at an early low level to introduce them to these kind of very legendary characters that deal with very kind of high-end stuff. One possibility is that they could see something in your characters that they reminds them of themselves, and they kind of take them under their wing. So it's not impossible. But I have accumulated some amazing resources for DMs over the years, and today I wanted to show you how I would take one of these resources and apply it into one of my campaigns. Today, for our first NPC ally, we're going to turn to Remarkable Shops and Their Wares from Lawsmith. I first picked up this book during their Kickstarter campaign, and I'm super excited for their next release, which is Remarkable Cults and Their Followers. Now, thus far in our campaign, we've had a short arc where we've met a recurring villain that will definitely be coming back in the future, but we need some adventures between that and now, right? We need a little bit of space to really make that villain more impactful when he does return. Now, I do always really enjoy giving the players headquarters of sorts, and I'm sure we'll do a video on that at some point. But for our campaign, I think a base of operations, in order to keep investigating the mystery of the missing Lord's daughter, and potentially a place that you could earn some gold, because the guys might not actually have that much with them. So I've had a look in the book, and I have picked the Old Mill. Built right on a riverbank in an idyllic glade, this disused watermill has been converted into the Old Mill General Goods Store and Auction House. Well loved throughout the province for its expansive product range and friendly service, the Old Mill sees a steady stream of visitors all year round. The store's regional renown far outshines its aged exterior's appearance. Quality goods, fresh produce, and adventuring gear can be purchased at fair prices, always with a kind smile from the staff. Most of these goods arrive at the Old Mill from across the river, which still serves as a major trade route throughout the countryside. The nearby Triland crossing sees a constant flock of travellers, many of whom choose to spend the night at the Old Mill and stock up on supplies. Now, this book is chock full of excellent story hooks and interesting little characters, but for today I want to focus on the owner of the Old Mill, Florin Enderil. The owner. Florin Enderil is the proud owner of the mill, a portly middle-aged man who always has the spark of good humour in his eye and bears the scars of his past adventuring life with a smile. Despite the difficulties that come with running such a well-stocked store, he never lets the stress get the better of him, and has a wit as quick as any jester or knave. Florin is also an exceptional mathematician, capable of recalling long lists of stock prices any time he requires. He even calculates the fluctuating prices of trade goods without the use of abacus or parchment and quill. Florin is normally found behind the checkout of the old mill, where he takes great pride in serving his customers face to face, despite his superior role in the store. Having the old mill as a place where our party can go and recover, potentially stock up on supplies, or spend some gold or loot that they might have gotten their hands on. Never underestimate how much fun a whole session of shopping can be, by the way. Now here I would let some hints drop from Florin and the staff that, there have been some break-ins recently, and although Florin was once a great adventurer, he's past his prime and he might not be able to handle the bandits that are around. So he requires to hire some security. Now, also, do not underestimate the desire of some players to haggle. And don't be surprised when you offer what you think is a ridiculous amount of money that one of your players, at least, is going to ask for double. So just, bear in mind. Now, in the book, Florent isn't a character that has pages and pages of history. It is important to understand that this is a starting point. He could be very jolly and pleasant, but maybe hiding the invisible scars of his adventuring life. And I do once again caution you not to turn every NPC into a backstabbing traitor, because it'll get tired quick. And again, your players just will never trust anyone ever. But there we have it, lovely people. Before we jump into our character building section, please make sure you have subscribed if you haven't already. And if you could hit that like button, we would be so grateful, as it really helps the channel grow. Okay then guys, so for our character building section, of course, we are going to be using 5th edition character sheet. It's my favorite app. It's on my phone. It makes it really easy to kind of create characters quickly. There is a limit for the free version, but the paid version is a one-off payment of, I think it was like $5 or $10 bucks, £10, something like that. So I definitely recommend it. And we're going to be building our new NPC ally, Florin. Now, not exactly. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building what Florin would have been maybe at his peak, kind of the time that he remembers most fondly. Mostly because I like to do this for inspiration, to know what kind of character I think they would be. And so let's jump in now, and I know that in the book it says he is a human male, but I'm going to change it a little bit, and this goes back to the whole, it's a starting point. You can adapt things, you can change things, you don't have to follow exactly what it is in the book, because it's your campaign, it's you and your player's story, right? So we're going to go straight up half-elf, and we haven't actually built a rogue for a really long time. And honestly, rogues are kind of my favorite characters. For the background, I'm going to go folk hero. I'm going to go that, his adventuring time made him pretty famous. But now, when our players come across him, I think I'm going to use maybe the stats of the veteran, which are in the monster manual at the back, or perhaps the noble, just because he's a different person now. Florin isn't the adventurer that he once was. But like I say, we're building this, and we're going to go up to level 5. And we're going to go with, for skills, I want him to be charming. I'm going to go persuasion. And then I'm also going to go stealth, because we're building a rogue, and he's actually going to be an ex-thief. Something that he's not very kind of open about. He just, when people say to him, oh, so what did you do? How did you, he's like, oh, I was just an adventurer, so, You know, not that in your campaign you should really... The players don't know their classes, right? They don't know they're a rogue or instead of a fighter or something like that. So, you know, bear that in mind. So we're going to go 16 Dex and 15 Constitution. We're going to go 12 Charisma. We're going to go 11 Intelligence. We're going to go 10 Wisdom, and we are going to dump Strength. Now, the half-elf traditionally gets +2 Charisma. So that's going to take us up to 14. And +1 on 2. And I'm going to put those on our 2 odd numbers to make them even. And you're going to see how nice this starts to become as we go up in levels. Now, we're going to pick 4 skills. So I'm going to go with Intimidation, because Florin's going to be a pretty big guy, and you don't lose that. I'm going to give him Perception as well. Insight, always very useful. And I'm going to give him Deception as well. So quite a bit of charisma-heavy skills. But again, this is also going to play into how I'm going to use him as an NPC. Now, Expertise, double proficiency. I'm going to go Stealth and Persuasion. He's a very persuasive but sneaky thief. So, Rapier, short bow and arrows, burglar's pack, all beautiful and delicious. And we're going to name him Florin and Duril. Okay, we're going to give him some studded leather, because that at least gets him to 15, which is not too bad. And just very quickly, let's have a quick look at his stats. Decent skill-wise, you know, across the board. +5 to hit. Again, nice. Half-elf, you have dark vision. You are immune to magical sleep, and you have advantage on saves versus charisma. Always super handy. We get those extra 2 skills for being half-elf. Then the folk hero feature is commoners are willing to shelter you from some troubles. So again, this leans into his kind of old times, you know, he was the hero, and so people still kind of look up to him for it. As a rogue, you get double proficiency. At the bottom, it gets printed again. This is, you know, again, one of the things. Sometimes it kind of adds stuff that it doesn't need to, but that's fine. You can edit it. You get the sneak attack, you get the thieves' cant, and you get the double proficiency, which we've chosen persuasion and stealth. And we're going to level up. Stick with rogue. Now, at second level, you get your dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action. Very nice for your rogues. Let's go up again. We're sticking with rogue. We're declining the optional aim. We're keeping things simple for this campaign. And I'm actually going to go with thief, focusing on stealth and agility, which is actually a really great subclass for them. They have a lot of very interesting ones, not least of which like the Soul Knife, who's like a psychic rogue, which is pretty amazing. The Swashbuckler, you know, the Assassin, a lot of really cool subclasses. But the Thief, I think a little bit underrated. Then we have... you can use an object, use Thieves' Tools, or Sleight of Hand as a cunning action. So that's your bonus action, dash, disengage, or hide. You add these other 2 things. Very nice. You're suddenly doing a lot of things in your turn. And you can climb at full speed and jump dex modifier feet further. So you're pretty, like, acrobatic and stuff. Now, pretty cool thus far, but this is where things are going to start to get interesting. We're going to level up. We're going to stick with rogue, and instead of taking a feat, which is usually what we would do, we're actually going to go +2 on charisma. And now, suddenly, our hit points are 35. Not bad with our +3 constitution, our 16 in constitution. Our dexterity is +3, which gives us a nice to hit on our roguey weapons. And our charisma is 16, making our deception checks, intimidation checks, and persuasion checks very, very nice. So he's a great kind of face type character. And then we're going to take him up one more level, up to level 5, because you get this great ability called dodge. Essentially, you can use a reaction to take half damage when hit by a foe that you see. So again, if we're using this character, right, we're using this character as inspiration for our kind of patron, Florin Enderil, who owns the old mill. And, you know, he's an old ex-adventurer. And again, using that whole, there've been bandits in the area, and I've tried to fight them off, but I'm not what I used to be. I think that's a good hook to kind of get your players to trust them. And then let's say that you know, you set up your players decide to set up a trap, and Florin says, "Oh, I'm going to be here with you to try and help." And again, you can use the trick of have him save someone, get them out the way as something's falling or they're about to be hit, and he takes the hit instead, right? And he can use his dodge, which he learned as a skill to not necessarily die. So, you know, those things, little things, are things that inspire the character. And, you know, you started with the seed from the book, Remarkable Shops and Their Wares. And then you develop that by creating a character sheet for this character when he was in his prime. And then using, like I say, maybe the veteran from the monster manual, maybe change some of the stats to make them a bit more similar to Florin's, and go from there. And then you have a great ally NPC for you know, to help your PCs, which is sometimes a nice thing to have. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. What do you think about our new patron / ally, Florin? Have you had some memorable NPC characters in your campaigns? Let us know down in the comments below. Share this video with any friends that are starting out as DMs. Take care of each other. And as always, keep slaying. If you've enjoyed this content, then please smash that like button, subscribe, share this around online, and come and visit our website, www.lavictoriaproductions.com, to see all our past episodes, as well as our blog posts and all the stuff that we're currently working on at La Victoria Productions. Why not reach out to us and tell us what you think of our videos? You can reach us on Twitter. @MouthLaVictoria is our producer. We are also on Instagram. I am EnanoLVP, and our producer is Jazzy J Cherot. We're also La Victoria Productions on Facebook and LinkedIn. Come on by and let us know what you think.